Good afternoon, students. On Monday, we had started with this chapter on Let's March, which is a speech given by Mr. Kailash Satyarthi, a Nobel Prize winner, and he gave this speech when he received this award in Norway. If you remember, I had told you he is a man who works or who fights for the rights of children. So let us continue with the chapter. 20 years ago, in the foothills of the Himalayas, I met a small, skinny child laborer. He asked me, "Is the world so poor that it cannot give me a toy and a book instead of forcing me to take a gun or a tool?" So I had ended my last time session with this paragraph. I will continue now. I met a Sudani child soldier. He was kidnapped by an extremist militia. As his first training lesson, he was forced to kill his friends and family. He asked me, "What is my fault?" So, next paragraph tells us that Kailash Satyarthi and his team went on to save a child soldier from Sudan. If you know, class, in the world you have many countries where terrorism is rising on a great extent. And in these countries, they target children, especially coming from poor families. This is happening even in India and even in the world around, where children are kidnapped, then they are given a training and they are forced to kill their own countrymen. Many a times, in the name of religion, in the name of fighting for one's right, or in the name of stating that the government is not correct, so you're fighting for your country. So these children are brainwashed in this manner. So you had this boy out here who was probably kidnapped, and as a training he was first told to kill his own family members so that he becomes a hardcore terrorist. But lucky for him, he was saved by Mr. Kailash Satyarthi. And he went on to ask a question. He asked, what was his fault? Why was he made to kill his own friends and family members? Just because he's poor, or just because he belongs to a country where terrorism is on the rise? Friends, all the great religions teach us to care for our children. Jesus said, "Let the children come to me, do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to them." The Holy Quran says, "Kill not your children because of poverty." So, in his speech, Mr. Kailash said that even the holy books teach us that we should not misguide our children. We have to teach our children the right values and the morals. Friends, there is no greater violence than to deny the dreams of our children. Therefore, I refuse to accept that all the temples and mosques and churches and prayer houses have no place for the dreams of our children. Very well put forward. Mr. Kailash Satyarthi says he refuses to accept the fact that we spend such a lot of money in building big churches and temples and mosques, but where are we taking care of our children? That means temple, mosque, and churches are so important more than our children. This is the question he's asking. And he says, in this bargain, we are denying the dreams of our children, the dreams of our future. If our future children are not saved, how will the world be saved? So let us mark the grammar of these paragraphs, class, which I have done. Second paragraph, you mark the second line. He was kidnapped by an extremist militia. Okay, so over here the question is change the voice. Answer will be an extremist militia kidnapped him. Okay, so the sentence is in the passive, you have changed it to active. Next line, friends is your word there, change it into a verb Answer will be befriend. 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 Okay. Next paragraph, you have the word religions. Change it to adjective. Religious. Religious. Next, you have come a little lower down to the paragraph. I refuse to accept. Second last paragraph, second line. I refuse to accept. Pick out the non finite verb and state its kind. So, here the non finite verb is to deny, and it's an infinitive because you have the preposition to plus a verb. So, it's an infinitive. Let's continue. I refuse to accept that the world is so poor that when just 1 week of global military expenditure can bring all the children to the classrooms. So, Mr. Kailash says all the governments and the entire world is telling a lie if they say they do not have finances for the children. Why? Because he says the amount of money we are spending on our defense, even if that 1 week money we keep aside of every country, we can help our children. See, it's only a matter of 1 week money that we spend on a defense, and that can save our children, and we can have so many schools, free schools, that our children can come and study out there. Free schools, not paid schools. I refuse to accept that all the laws and constitutions, police and judges are unable to protect our children. I refuse to accept that the shackles of slavery can ever be stronger than the quest for freedom. I refuse to accept here. So he stresses on telling that he refuses to accept many things, that the law cannot protect our children, that the constitution, the police, the judges cannot protect. I had told you in the previous chapter of mine, there are many such minded people who for money, who for power can go to any extent. They don't mind even sacrificing or torturing or harassing our children for money purpose or for power purpose. So he said it is absolutely wrong that our police and our law cannot doesn't know about it. He says even the shackles of slavery cannot be stronger. Shackles meaning chains. We cannot say that who will do it, or who is going to break the chains of these children. No, it's wrong, because it says freedom can easily be got if all these people, if the constitution of the country, if the police, if the law, if the judges all come together, things can work out. Because see, class, we have a law which says child labor is wrong. We have a law which says children 14 and below the age of 14 have to be sent to school. But that law has remained only on the paper, only in our books. Where is anyone making an effort to put that into a reality? No. All these, for our own selfish needs, we are manipulating the law and making it for our own benefit. My only aim in life is that every child is free to be a child, free to grow and develop, free to eat, sleep, and see daylight, free to laugh and cry, free to play and learn, free to go to school, and above all, free to dream. Yes, class, these are all the rights of every child, not only of the rich, not only of those who can afford, but every child needs to get these rights of having their own dream, of growing up as any other child, of seeing, of laughing, of seeing the outside world, of enjoying which I and you are also enjoying. I have the privilege of working with many courageous people who have the same aim. We have never given up against any threat or attack, and we never will. Very strong statement he makes at the speech. He says there are many people who are trying to break them. There are many people who are trying to threaten them. There are many people who are trying to attack them. But he says he and his team are very courageous. They are never going to give up this fight for the sake of the children of the world. We have made progress in the last couple of decades. We have reduced the number of out of school children by half. We have reduced the number of child laborers by a third. We have reduced child mortality and malnutrition. And we have prevented millions of child deaths. But let us make no mistake, great challenges still remain. He says today, because of people like him, many children have started coming to school. Many children are getting free education. So, one law which was passed because of these people, these courageous people, was the RT law class. I am sure we all know RT is Right to Education Law. Alright, so today many children are coming to school. Child labor has reduced, also mortality and malnutrition. Children are given free food. I hope you know, in many of these aided and government schools, children get free food. Free ration is given to them. Also, child death has lowered. So even mothers are given proper food so that when they give birth to babies, the babies are healthy. But at the same time, Mr. Kailash says it is not the end of everything. There are still great challenges. Friends, the biggest challenge or biggest crisis knocking on the door of humankind is free and intolerance. Absolutely correct, class. It's not that, everybody has accepted what Mr. Kailash Satyarthi and his team is doing. There is always a fear. There are people still who are attacking them and threatening them. And there are people who live in fear. What can I do? If I do this, something may happen to me. So, he says we need to educate people about it. We have utterly failed our children in imparting an education that gives the meaning and objective of life, an education that gives a sense of global citizenship among the youth. Very important. He says today our education has failed. We are only imparting our children how to do rote learning, how to learn just to get a grade or a percentage or a merit or marks. Where are we teaching our children the knowledge of how to use that, or impart that knowledge for the benefit of the society? Where are we teaching our children that their knowledge should be used for the benefit of everybody, for themselves and for everybody? Where are we teaching our children that it is not only the country that you live in is yours, but the entire world is yours? That you are a world citizen, you are a global citizen. Not fight that this is my country, my religion, and my this and my that. The entire world belongs to each one of us. So, only the day when education reaches this aim of making every child understand that the whole world belongs to everybody and there should be no fights in the name of religion and property and the fight of land, then only education, you can say, is in the true sense. Till then, we are educating our children, but they will still remain educated illiterates. I am afraid that the day is not very far away when the cumulative result of this failure will culminate in an unprecedented violence, and that will be suicidal for humankind. He says the day is not far when people will realize that what we are doing is absolutely wrong. The cumulative result of this education's failure, cumulative meaning the collective result, when ultimately people will realize that education has failed, and that is the time when when the people will come together and there will be a great violence, there will be probably people will go against the government, will go against the education system. That what they are teaching is not actually something which is benefiting the society on the whole. And that will be a suicidal for humankind. Suicidal for humankind meaning it will be a failure of humankind when education will fail. Okay. Now mark the grammar class out over here. You have the word grow. Grow, you change it into a noun form, it will be growth. Develop will be development. Laugh will be laughter. Alright. Then come a little lower down. You have, we have utterly failed our children. Okay, we have utterly failed our children. Add a question tag. So your answer will be, we have utterly failed our children, haven't we? And a question mark. Okay. Then you have, if you see the word there, I think friends I already did with you, to be friend. Okay, great is the word, change it into a noun, it will be greatness. We have reduced mortality. See in that paragraph here, we have reduced child mortality. Change it into an interrogative. Answer will be, haven't we reduced child mortality? And a question mark. Okay. Then you have the word. Then you have the sentence out over there. I am afraid that the day is not very far away. Mark that last paragraph. Identify the clause and state its kind. So, I am afraid is your main clause. So, what am I afraid of? I am getting the answer that the day is not very far away. So, it is your subordinate noun clause. Let's continue, class. Rights, security, hope can only be restored through education. So it says all this can be brought back or will remain for a longer time if we give the right education. So all the rights, the security and hope of mankind will remain with the right education. Young people like Malala, I have started calling her my daughter Malala, not just Malala. So my daughter Malala and other daughters, including Kainat, in fact, two Kainats and Shazia, and the daughters from Africa and from all over the world, they are rising up and choosing peace over violence, tolerance over extremism, and courage over fear. Okay, so class finally over here he brings into picture the very young Nobel Prize winner at the same time when Mr. Kailash also received, that is Malala. I will tell you about Malala and the Kainat sisters as soon as I complete this page. I will tell you about their why did Malala receive the Nobel Prize. The solutions are emerging, but these solutions cannot be found in the deliberations in conferences alone and cannot be found in prescriptions from a distance. So he says in the previous paragraph that today he is probably old but still fighting, quite an aged man, but he is happy that there are youngsters who are entering in the same field and are understanding that one needs to fight for one's rights. And that's when he has made use of all these names, Malala and the Kainat sisters. And he says today the solutions are emerging. People are realizing we are coming up with solutions. But at the same time, he says it should not remain only in deliberations, only in the speeches, or only in the written word, prescriptions. It should be put into practice. They lie in small groups and local organizations and individuals who are confronting with the problems every day. Even if they remain unacknowledged, unrecognized, and unknown to the world, the solutions are with them. It says today we cannot tell that the government should do it or some other organization should do it. There are small organizations which are fighting for the children. But it says it is up to us. The ones who are facing these problems should today stand up and not keep quiet. So it says it is the individuals who are confronting with the problems every day. Yes, the ones who are confronting, the ones who are facing should stand up and fight against it. And it says doesn't matter if these people are not recognized or not acknowledged or do not become famous. Everybody cannot become famous, no? But if you're fighting for your right, that itself brings about self satisfaction. Nobody else is going to come and fight, no? So that is what Kailash Satyarthi says. Today it's important each one takes up the education in the right manner and stands up for what is right. Mark the grammar, your class. They are rising up and choosing peace over violence. Change it into future progressive tense. Answer is they will be rising up and choosing peace over violence. Next paragraph, the solutions are emerging. Change it into interrogative. Answer, aren't the solutions emerging, and a question mark. Okay, now I will tell you about Malala and the other girls. Now, Malala class is a girl from Pakistan, and her father used to run a school in one of the villages of Pakistan, and a time came when Pakistan went under the rules of the Talibani government. Talibanis are kind of terrorist groups, okay, where they banned all the schools, and they said that education is against the religion and is harmful, especially for the girls. So no girls in Pakistan were allowed to go to school. And during that time, Malala was just around 11 to 12 years old, and when she realized this, she wrote an article. And this article, her father published it. And when the Talibanis saw this or read this, they were very angry about it. And they did not like, because the article was became famous even in the rest part of the world, and they realized what was happening in Pakistan. So the world came to know about it. And accordingly, the UN took a decision, and many of the schools started opening in Pakistan. And the Talibanis did not like. So one day when Malala, along with her friends whom I've shown you in the picture out there, they are the Kainat sister Razia and Shazia, when they were returning back from the exam after the school. By then, she was around 15 years old, Malala, and two Talibani men stopped the bus and asked who is Malala, and three shots were fired point blank at Malala, which pierced through her eyes and her head. And in that bargain, even these two girls were injured who were sitting next to her. They also got the shots. They all were rushed to the hospital. Of course, Malala was in a very critical condition. Later, the UN came to know about it. She was rushed to UK, where she got treatment. Finally, of course, after a few years, the Talibani military rule ended in Pakistan. But Malala went on to become world famous. Till date, she, along with these two girls, fights for the rights of girls' education throughout the world, and especially for the girls in Afghanistan and Pakistan. She is a citizen not only of Pakistan but also of Canada. She went on to take further education in UK with the help of the UK government. and she was one of the recipients of the Nobel Prize. She's written many books. A few I have given over here. I Am Malala. All right, and the other picture is how the Pakistani girls are asking the government of Pakistan to bring Malala back to Pakistan. So it is a story of a very brave girl class, and it is a message for all of us that age doesn't matter. You can show your courage and bravery at any age, but only need to take the education in the right way and need to fight for the right purpose. So with this message, class, I end my this session. Have a great time. Good day. God bless you.